edition of the Arewa Youth Mentorship Program. Today we have a distinguished career professional with us, who I'm happy to say, I'm proud to say, was my junior in secondary school. We attended Federal Government College Sokoto together. I think he was in Form 1 when I was in Form 3. So he needs to call me Senior Rabi. So I don't have his CV with me. So what I plan is that Group Captain retired Sadeeq Shehu would introduce himself, and then he would introduce his topic, and then he will tell us. And I am very much confident that if you are somebody who follows him on Facebook or any of the social media, you would know that today you're going to really learn. So I welcome my junior brother, my junior at secondary school, Group Captain, retired Sadeeq Shehu. You're welcome, and you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rabia. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Indeed, I find it a pleasure to be here with like-minded people to share my experiences. By way of introduction, my name is Group Captain Sadeeq Garba Shehu, retired. I'm a retired Nigerian Air Force military officer who retired voluntarily after serving for 27 years. After serving with the military, I have had the opportunity to work both in Nigeria and outside the country. When I left the military, I had a stint with the African Union as the Deputy Head of Security and Safety. I've also had the opportunity to work with the African Union peacekeeping mission in Mali as the Chief of Safety and Security. Thereafter, I had a brief with Save the Children as the West and Central Africa Regional Security Director based in Senegal. I came back to Nigeria, and in Nigeria, I have worked with several organizations, UNDP, International Organization for Migration, and I also was privileged to serve as the Regional Program Manager for a US NGO call Center for Civilians in Conflict, where I served as the Regional Program Manager and Senior Military Advisor in the Lake Chad Basin region. Outside of that, I have consulted for a variety of international and national organizations, in my personal capacity. Currently, I'm a freelance consultant on security, peace, and development matters, and I have my own outfit, which I work with other professionals. Now, without being immodest, when I was approached for this, I think probably I could say I have gone through about 7 jobs in my life, which I find very fulfilling. And I think based from that experience, I have something I can share with our younger brothers or even my contemporaries, because I always say, even as I am now, I'm in the job market. That means if I find any offer that suits me, I will go. In the course of my career, I get contacted by many younger graduates or even experienced people, even my colleagues in the military who retire. They want my advice. How do they secure jobs? Definitely, we are living in very, hard times. The number of graduates, we have figures that said almost 1.8 million graduates enter into the job market every year. While working with the Empower program as an advisor, I came also to learn that there are about 40 million unemployed youths in Nigeria. So definitely the competition is far higher probably than when I started looking for a job. But what I find, no matter how saturated the market is, certain techniques, certain ideas on how to look for jobs, on how to write your CV, on how to write your cover letter or motivation letter, and how you face interviews will at least put you ahead of other competitors. So it's with the purpose of sharing this idea today that I decided to partake in this very laudable venture. And I congratulate the people who put this together, because in all honesty, there is need for this kind of advice. It is trite to say Dr. Rabi is an academician but we also hear it. Graduates don't have skills. We have graduates, but they cannot, fit into job places. So it's with an idea to give you a leg up. It's not a one-way traffic. I am going to tell you from my experience during the interactive session. If you have any contrary idea or a different experience, you are welcome to contribute. So in the next 45 minutes, I will say 30 to 45 minutes, I intend to cover issues like how do you write your CV or resume, as the Americans call it, and then also how do you write your cover or motivation letter. And then I will look at skills, different kind of skills that a prospective applicant would like to have. Then I will look at a choice between degree courses and non-degree courses. Right now there is a debate whether actually degree courses should be the priority of somebody, or it should be other non-degree courses, maybe that gives diplomas or certificates in certain skills. It's an ongoing debate, but it's I think this is a good place to also say it. How do you get job experience? Some people are mostly put off when they reach they have finished school for a long time, there is nothing going, and then all the job applications are saying job experience of so years required. Finally, I will look at interviews, some few techniques on how to face an interview, if hopefully you arrive at that stage. Then I will give some tips on job search. So after that, I will give the slot to people to say to say what they have to say. So let me move in straight, Dr. Rabi, and start on CV or resumes. The truth about job search is that at the resume stage, most HR professionals will tell you, especially where the job is very attractive and it has a lot of candidates. The CV sift is the first stage where some people will tell you as much as 70% of the applicants are dropped. So this is a time that nothing has been seen about you, nothing has been known about you. The only thing that the employer is looking at is paper you sent in terms of CV. Now, if 70% of the applicants are going to be dropped at this stage, then I don't need to emphasize the importance of having a well-written CV. During our lives, we must have seen CVs, different kind. I know almost every somebody searching for employment has a CV. And I can say without doubt that even while you have your own CV, there are some CVs that as soon as you see, you even want to copy them. Immediately it comes to you. So that is to say the aesthetics of a CV, without even going to the content, sometimes the way it is formatted, the way it is arranged, even if you are not an employer, when you see the CV, you say, please, can you help me? I'm sure it has happened. It still happens to me. I still CVs that I say, wow, let me have this. So what I'm trying to say here is that there are two things in the CV, the appearance and the content. The appearance is what will first attract the person. Imagine the person doing the CV, depending on the company, it may be a high-level director that is going through the CVs, and also depending on the number, it may be a low employee who is giving, okay, take this 100 CVs, you know the requirements, bring out 20 out of the 100. So you can understand that the first thing, people, we love aesthetics. As human beings, we love aesthetics. So in all honesty, when you see a CV that looks very beautiful, you have a tendency, even if you are tired, you say, I will read this. So when you are writing your CV, please know that you have approximately 1 minute to catch the eye of the person that is doing the CV. I am not saying that automatically a beautiful CV is the CV, and a CV that is not written, it may have good content, but catch the eye. So please, I'll return to content. Another good thing is that having this very beautiful CV is your first chance of passing the paper sheet. Now, CVs, again, I have people telling me that I have CVs, and I have sent no return, which takes me to the second point. You must not be lazy. You must tailor each CV to the job application you are going for. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is very difficult. This is very hard, but every job has what it is looking for. Even though you are still talking about the same subject that is you, but depending on the job, you will find that if you have 10 applications, or less, if probably they're in the same industry and the same level of work, you probably have to go back if you want to make a good showing and look at that job advert and then review that your CV to suit it particularly to that something. So please, this is something I always advise. How long is the CV? It's always a problem that people confront. Is it too long? Is it too short? What do I include? What do I not include? Now, depending on your level of experience, somebody who doesn't have too much a beginner, or who's trying to break the job market, who doesn't have experience, in all honesty, it will not be good for you to have a CV that is more than one page, because like I said, you didn't have much of experience. However, when you become experienced and you're looking for a higher paying job or a higher grade job, based on the experience you've garnered, you could do a CV from 2 up to 5 pages. Even though, again, there is no hard and fast rule, because sometimes the person given the employment advert will specify. Some they will even specify the font. So in that case, you don't have any choice. You specify. But where you have latitude to play, please, for a beginner, try and put your CV on 1 page. If you are experienced going for a higher job, 2 to 5, the fewer, the better. For the same reason that I alluded before, it may be a highly sought after job, and maybe there is one person that has to go through 100 or 200 CVs. So the longer you go, the less likely you're going to impress him. Whatever you decide to do, you must ensure that you put as much information as relevant, as much relevant information as possible into your CV. Now, when the CV goes, like I said, who does the sift? In some employees, maybe in smaller firms, the CV sift might be done by the recruiting manager or the HR manager or company director. In other places, you may find it is a few junior staff that will be said, okay, you know what we are looking for. Please, I don't want to waste my time, bring 20 up for me. So you can see it's very subjective. That is why the aesthetics and the content are very, very important. Now, you also need to know as a prospective employer, how do people assess CVs generally? CVs are assessed generally against the requirements of the job. So please, before you go to your CV, the first important thing is to read the job the job application that is posted. See what is required for that job. What are the essential criteria? What are the desirable criteria? In most job abstract, they will say this is desired. That means it is not a deal breaker, but if you have it, it's an added advantage. But where they say required, where the word required is concerned, it means you must have it. So in all honesty, again, not to save your energy, I will advise where you don't meet requirements, where they say this is required, then please, you shouldn't bother. For example, it would be a waste of time if they say they're looking for somebody with a graduate degree, a master's degree, and you know you don't have a master's degree. It will be a waste of time for you to apply. So why don't you channel your energy somewhere? However, they could say a first degree is required, a second degree is desired. You see, this is desired. If you think you have a strong first degree and you have strong other things that can add to you, even with a first degree, you can go for that kind of job. Now, why do employers, refuse or put into the dustbin some CVs? There are two main motives behind that. The remaining stage after the paper sift are processes that are very expensive to the employer in terms of personnel, in terms of time. So you see, for that reason, they want to go with only people who have a chance of fulfilling the criteria. So that is why they have to sift. The employer is also thinking of his existing workforce. He has worked hard to recruit people who already work there, and he doesn't want to employ anyone who isn't up to standard that have already been set. So he wants to meet a standard that has already been set by that company. So for these two reasons, they will likely decide either to go forward with your CV or to drop it there. Employers in general will be looking at the effort you put into your CV. Just like I said at the beginning, when you see some CVs, the way they are formatted, even before reading the content, you know that this guy has put a lot of effort, and something tells you there is something about this candidate. Let me see what he has to say. But somebody that jumbles things, everything, in all honesty, if the man is tired and he cannot go through the 100, the one that looks ugly and cluttered is the one that is likely to push by the side. And unfortunately, that CV might contain very beautiful things. Now, some tips about how to make your content wise. There are crucial some design features that that all catching resumes need to follow. Good resume font. Experience has shown that you should use an easy to read typeface, one that is elegant and formal on the one hand, and also modern and stylish on the other. So if you are a bit, I'm sure all of us are a bit familiar with the fonts in a normal computer, you should keep your font set to between 10 and 14. There are certain good picks fonts that you can look at. You can look at Cambria, Calibri, Helvetica, Bookman, All Style. These are, certainly some of the things that look good for a CV type of writing. Both serif and sans serif fonts can also look good. But once you choose your font, that is between that 10 and 12, please stick to it on the whole document. Ideally, you should use the same font when writing a cover letter. I'll come to cover letter later on. You should also have evenly set margins on all sides. On all the four sides, as much as possible, you should have at least an inch of margins on the four sides of the paper. When you are talking of line spacing, it is ideal to use 1.15 lap spacing. Use double spacing before and after each heading. As I will tell you later, the CV also has different, portions of the CV. Have clear section headings. Have enough white space. Recruiters need some breathing space when they are reading a document. Those gaps you leave, they are like breathing space for somebody who is reading the CV. As much as possible, avoid putting pictures. Some people put pictures, but unless you are asked to include a picture, please don't put a picture on your CV. I've already talked about length. Make sure you include the most important sections. That is educational background, your contact details. And when you put your contact details, please leverage all the modern communication gadgets, email, LinkedIn, whatever profile you have, please include it. Because that shows you are up to date with modern communication gadgets. Your educational qualifications very well, your job's health. When you are listing your job health, the idea mostly is to start in backward chronological order. That is starting from the current job you are holding downward. Have a space for special skills. Skills, like I said, are very, very important. Also, if possible, have another subsection for honors and activities. Are you a member of any professional organization? Have you volunteered for any work? Have you done some internship? Do you have some awards or decorations? Have you won some scholarships during your lifetime? It is good to include all this. So in essence, please know the fonting, the line spacing, the margins, the section headings, no photographs, and include all your what makes you special. Within that limit of the 1 page, I said, if you are a starter, and then maybe 2 to maximum 5 pages, if you are somebody high up with a lot of experience, maybe 20 years experience and 5 years experience, you are looking to move into another job. 4 pages or 5 pages can still be the same. But finally, remember I said, sometimes the employer will insist on what he wants in the CV in terms of length. Some will even go to the details of same font. Now, if you don't follow the instructions, already that is a red flag for somebody who has an employee, because it's seeing a potential employee who is not going to follow company regulations. After talking from CV, please you keep your questions if you have, or I don't know, doctor, is it okay if they stop me and ask? But I think I prefer, please, you jot your questions as I go along this sections by section. Then at the end, I will have you asking your questions. Now, after CV, most probably we should talk about motivation letter. Sometimes it is called motivation letter. Sometimes it is called letter of intent, whatever it is. In the old ways, we call it application letter. Now, motivation letter is part 2 of your application. We have already seen the CV, which is a summary of facts, such as your educational background and work experience. Your motivation letter allows you to show a bit more of your personality. What have you done? What have you achieved? Answering to the job requirements that are advertised in the job advert. It is here that the employer will know your suitability for the particular job position. So make sure that your motivation letter supports your CV. CV is just a brief. It's just a brief. The motivation letter, you have the chance to expand more so that the person reading the motivation letter will know what kind of person. Before you start, just like the CV, please again analyze the vacancy and make sure you have enough information to write a good and compelling motivation letter. Look at what the employer said he's looking for. Some general tips in writing a motivation letter. It is always good, just like the CV, that, like I said, you have a short time to catch the eye. A very powerful, impressive opening statement in a motivation letter is very necessary. I would also advise that you use short, active sentences. Get to the point. Ensure that your motivation letter is in line with what you have already in your CV, but avoid identical overlap. In no way what you put in your CV should also exactly in the same wording appear on your motivation letter, because the man will be reading the same thing twice. You can also mention, you can carefully check the name and the job description and the person that is receiving the application. Sometimes the application will say, write to Dr. XY. Please, in addressing your motivation letter, make sure you mention that person. Sometimes it is not like that. They'll only give you an email address, so it is okay to use to Mr. or stroke Mrs. But as much as, in fact, if there's enough time, it shows you a good quality if you can call the employer, if a name is not given, to say to whom am I addressing this, put that personal touch. Now, when you are writing the motivation letter, please, they know you want the job. So don't bug yourself with saying why I want to work for this company. What? No, you want to tell the company or the employer, what are you bringing to him? So you are writing from his point of view. Why should I pick this guy? Why should I pick this lady? So please don't bug yourself too much about what you want the company to do for you. No, what you are going to do for the company. Lengthwise, a motivation letter should be a maximum also of 1 A4 page. You could make it as maximum 2, but please no more. Now, there are some tips again also of writing the motivation letter, because you want to have an opening that is neutral, distinctive, and compelling phrase. Once you open your motivation letter with a very powerful message, the man sits up, or the lady who's checking sits up, and he wants to read more. I'll give you just a few examples. There is no hard and fast rule. I am responding to your advert, which appeared in the new Nigerian newspapers of this and this date. I am especially fascinated by this job because of my passion for working in the humanitarian sector, my passion for working in the academic sector, my passion in working in the IT industry. My additional motivation is the fact that this position is going to work in a rural area. As somebody with a rural background, I want to see what changes I can bring to rural environment, something like that. There is no hard and fast rule. Like I said, motivation letters that start very well, they attract the person to pay attention and see, let me read and see what this guy has to offer. You try as much as possible to convince the recipient that you are the right candidate. Now, a motivation letter, you have to draw the balance between timid and between overconfident, between immodest and also being realistic to show what your achievements are. So on the one hand, I will not allow you not to, I will not advise you not to vaunt what you have achieved in life. Yes, say it out. But at the same time, you should guard against being excessively overconfident. But in no case should you be timid. If you know there is anything good about you, please discard modesty and say it in that motivation letter. Of course, before you do that, you must have taken the list of what they are looking for. Do you have the right education? Do you have the relevant work experience? Do you have the right characteristics? As much as possible, address them one by one. It is not out of place if, for example, they are looking for leadership qualities. You could say, while working at the Bayero University, Bayero University, that is my school where Dr. Rabi is, as the class head of the chemistry class, I was able to lead the work of 20 students and make sure that all of them return their assignments in good time to be submitted to the chemistry lecturer. Something like that. Give an example. You are talking about leadership qualities. Show where you exhibited leadership. If you are talking about creativity, show an example during your lifestyle where something happened out of the box and how you also moved out of the box and found a solution to that. Give examples, please. Ideally, the cover letter should have three. The first three paragraphs. The first paragraph should be how you came to know about the advert and also include what you are now. That is the current position you're holding. The second paragraph should be about, your achievements, tailoring them to what is required in the job. If they're looking for leadership, like I give them an additional example. If they are looking for somebody who is a good communications, who can communicate effectively, show where you use your skills in communication in past employments. And then finally, third paragraph, here you have to sound confident that given the above, you feel you are a fantastic fit for this job and you are looking forward to hearing from the employer. Sound confident and polite and also thanking them for considering your application. So in essence, these are the three. You may decide, depending again on your experience, to extend it up to 5 paragraphs. But in all, for all intents and purposes, I will not advise you to go beyond 3 to 5 paragraphs in your motivation letter. Now, I think I have said enough about motivation letter. I will move to the next aspect of our job search, which is skills. Skills. Now, ladies and gentlemen, skills, there are different kinds of skills, as you will hear during this our conversation. There are hard skills. Hard skills are skills that you learn either in school or through a course. You are an accountant. You have learned bookkeeping. That is a hard skill. But soft skills are skills that normally you don't even learn them in the school. You pick them up, and sometimes, most times, they are product of your personality. You are a good organizer. You are a good communicator. You are a good team player. I don't think there is any course in the university that will teach you to be a team player. Team player comes from within you. So these are soft skills. Another grade of skills also is employability skills. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into a time where the job environment has changed. Certainly, this is happening and it will continue to happen. The skills that a prospective employer will look for are already changing. And you also, as a prospective applicant, you must try to update and give the skills. Now, the good thing about these skills is that, like I said, soft skills, for example, they are transferable. That means whether you are a doctor, whether you are a carpenter, whether you are an accountant, whether you are a security man, these skills that are called soft skills like communication, like teamwork, invariably you will use them. Whereas hard skills on the other, they apply to a certain, profession. If you're an accountant, there are certain hard skills that are required for the accounting profession. If you're a doctor, there are certain skills that are required for a doctor for the profession of medicine. But soft skills, you'll find whatever you are doing, they are there. And in all honesty, soft skills are becoming to be recognized higher than any kind of skill in the job market. Now, in your resume section and in your CV section in particular, remember I mentioned there's a section on skills. There could be IT skills, there could be four-wheel driving skills, there could be first aid skills, there could be writing skills, there could be meeting organizing skills. There's probably no organization that will not hold meetings. So honest, if you have one doctor in a hospital, let me go to two different things. We're looking for a doctor to lead the pediatric section. If you have two doctors that are equally good in pediatrics, but one doctor says that he can organize meetings, certainly even in the pediatrics department, there will be a time that meeting will come. But it has nothing to do with being a doctor. So you can see the doctor that says he has had experience in organizing meetings, arranging agenda, taking minutes of a meeting. Definitely the recruiter will look for that guy more than the hard guy who only knows how to be a pediatrician. So skills are very important. Hard skills, again, in contraddition to soft skills, you can learn them on the jobs. If your organization brings a new computer software, everybody can be taught how to learn that. On the other hand, soft skills, like I said, you can they are not teachable. They actually come from personality. But gentlemen, with practice, even if you don't have, for example, if you find you're not a good communicator, you can train yourself to be a good communicator. You can train yourself by engaging in conversations, by opening yourself more, you can get communication skills. So hard skills are teachable, while on the contrary, soft skills may not be teachable, but they come within your own personality. So definitely skills are in demand. So much so that people are, there are some jobs now that people are giving skills. With all due respect, you could find some skills now that even with a first degree and those skills, you could earn higher than somebody who's holding a PhD. I am sure some of us here are experienced in the workforce, so I'm not telling you something new. So I am not saying that the hard skills are not good or educational qualifications are not good. They are, but combining them with what's important in the modern job market of soft skills, office administrative, how to answer phones. For example, I always advise young people, even while you are waiting for a job, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, it was, we had a bit of problem before, but I think it was just network cut off. But you're okay now, let's, yeah.
All right, okay.
Yes.
So you need both the hard and soft skills to survive in this. And in all honesty, you can pick the soft skills even while you are out of school. In any case, you are not likely to learn them in the school. So you should look for skills that appear in the jobs that you are searching. If you don't have them, be a good judge of yourself. Try to acquire them. There are so many skills, so many that I cannot listen. You just a simple Google search, please, you can find the skills that are in demand, depending on your criteria. Soft skills for your specialist field, and then, hard skills for your specialist field, and then soft skills that are transferable no matter the kind of work that you are doing. You will hear things like analytical skills. People want people that can analyze. Communication skills, computer skills, conceptual skills, core skills, creative thinking, critical thinking, decision making. All these are skills that you will find employers now looking for. And please, on a final note on skills, employers more and more are looking for soft skills for prospective employees. Now, having talked about skills, I will come also to one area that I want to give an advice. Degree and non-degree qualification. There is no doubt a graduate carries more weight than somebody who didn't go into a university or does not have a HND. Degrees, whether first degrees, second degrees, or PhDs, will continue to be valued. However, in the modern workforce, the modern employer is looking for two things in a prospective employee. He is looking at the person with a degree. That is, the person has depth. I want somebody in a working hospital. I want a doctor, or I want a nurse. He has depth in the area of medicine. But at the same time, they also want somebody with breadth. That is, he has skills in several other areas, even if not related to that medicine. So we're looking for both depth and breadth. Sometimes you see the argument whether even degrees are relevant or not. I think that is a false argument. Degrees are always relevant, but the person with the degree should always be looking for skills that are applicable. So this is why I come to degree and non-degree. In all honesty, it is becoming a trend. High flyers now like Google, Facebook, they are employing young people that didn't even have degrees because they have skills. And I think it's something that will continue. But of course, if you are going into the academia, for example, you need to have advanced degrees. Fine. But what I am saying is that you should look at what is your life trajectory. Are you, the area you are going, do you need degrees? For example, I always advise, and here I'm being very honestly broke, if you have a first degree, what we are seeing in the job market, I have a first degree in English, for example. It doesn't mean I have to stick in English. A graduate in English, after staying at home without employment, he could decide to go and study logistics. You could go and take a certificate or a diploma in logistics. And invariably, you will find that you will earn a living as a logistician, whereas you studied English. So this is the point I'm making. And the good thing is that there are so many new fields now that you really don't need a degree in them to become a professional in that field. So many which I will mention. So while a college degree or a university degree matters, there are also other areas that you can enter through non-degree qualification. And I will advise, sometimes in all honesty, you'll find that even better than going for a master's degree in what you have a first degree, you will do yourself a lot of good to go and pick a diploma or a certificate in an area that is very marketable. And there is nothing that stops you from leaving that area, whether you have a first degree, and moving into an area. That is the characteristic of the modern workforce. So you have many people who want to pursue area of academic interest, but they have also need for professional degrees in other area. This is why non-degree programs are established and remain so popular today. In addition, gentlemen, we are talking in terms of economics. On the average, such courses will cost you more or less than what it will cost you maybe to go for a master's degree. It is an individual decision that you will make, but I can tell you, if you look at it practically, what's happening in the job market, sometimes probably with due respect, it may not be necessary for you to go and do a master's and PhD in public administration. Maybe probably what you want to go and do is to go and do a diploma in IT application or in logistics or in or even in what is this concept, SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, or go and do a degree in project management. I mean, a diploma in project management. All these and many other fields are fields that are open, which technically you do not require a degree. Your first degree has opened your mind, but depending on your circumstances, in all honesty, in the modern market, you'll find that it is even better for you to go and pick a diploma in one paying field than to go for a master's degree. So this is what I will say. Among the areas where I have identified that are very marketable these days and you don't need a degree, especially while you already have a first degree, are areas like monitoring and evaluation, areas like climate change, areas like logistics, areas like geographical information systems, areas like sustainable development goals, areas like workplace safety, areas like safeguarding, areas like gender, human rights, people living with disabilities, special needs. You go and be a teacher for people with special needs. People, areas like psychosocial support, areas like project management, areas like facilitation, areas like research, adult education, and languages. Gentlemen, whatever your first degree is, you can decide depending on the market of your first degree. Whether we like it or not, there are fields that are closing. Dr. Rabia here will ask me, I think I had that now they don't even offer a course in mass communication. This shows you what is happening. So if I have a first degree in mass communication now, you start asking yourself, do you really need to go and do a master's in mass communication with due respect? If the purpose is for you to go and get a job. So these are issues, again, that you'll have to look at. Now, I will leave the issue of degree and non-degree and move to areas people ask. Most of the jobs that I am seeing, they are asking for 2 years degree, 2 years of job experience or 3 years job experience. Meanwhile, they have not given me a chance. Unfortunately, yes, that is true. But gentlemen and ladies, what I will advise, if you have the means, if you have the connection, because definitely I know times are hard. If you take, for example, you could decide to go maybe for an internship. You could approach any organization, public or private, that, okay, you don't have an opening, please, I want to go and do internship with you. Yeah. Some will accept you, but they will say, we are not giving you anything. You may be lucky, some will say, okay, we'll be defraying your transport cost and giving you some feeding allowance. But the point I'm making, even in the worst scenario, if they are not giving you anything, you are gaining work experience. And it looks good for a prospective employer that this young man or this young lady took time to go and do a non-paying internship, or he volunteered in one primary school to go and teach. In any case, if you have another graduate like you with the same qualifications, who has not done internship, who has not volunteered for anything, definitely you stand a better chance than him. So that whole of not having experience, please, as much as possible, I don't see our young men trying to do that. I have worked with UN agencies. With all due respect, I don't see our people, our young men, going to do some in this internship. And definitely, if you go for an internship, or if you volunteer for a position in any organization, and you apply yourselves, even though they will tell you, they are very clear that, look, this is not a promise of you getting a job, but they are human beings. If you apply yourself and along that time, a vacancy opens, definitely you are ahead of all other people that will apply. So please, to cover the gap of sitting for 4 years, 5 years, not having anything, if you have the means, emphasize, I say if you have the means. I know some people, unfortunately, don't even have that means. Please apply for an internship or apply for a volunteer with any organization. Now, another issue is that even the employers, they know it's not everybody that will have experience. There is always a chance. I know it's a small chance for beginners. So please, again, in searching for a job, look for jobs. In fact, there are some sites that I will tell you, they even tell you, you select what is your experience, 0 to 1 or 0 to 3 years. That means it sifts and give you positions where they are looking for beginners. There are certainly positions that are looking for beginners. It's not all positions that require this. All they want to see there is passion. All they want to see there is a good CV. All they want to see there is a good motivation letter of somebody who wants to go. There are still some areas, albeit very few, that will give a beginner with no experience a chance. You can look for such this. In any case, tailor your resume to that job. They are not looking for experience, so what will go for you now is passion, what you want to do with your life. I would also advise you to be following sites like LinkedIn and others that I will give. So always tailor your resume, look for a job that does not have the experience requirement. If you can afford it, instead of staying 2 years or 3 years, and please go to a local primary school, meet the headmaster and tell him you want to volunteer for a teaching. Do that. It will look good for you and it will count in lieu of, in any case, it is work experience. So please, this is what I will advise as far as the complaint that I want to apply, I don't have job experience is. I will quickly move in the next 5 minutes to the next issue for the interview stage. Now, if after having a successful, you pass the CV resume stage, your motivation letter has come, you have convinced them with your soft skills, your educational qualifications, your work experience, or even without work experience, finally the D-Day comes. You are invited for interview. Gentlemen, when you receive that good letter, you are invited for interview. The rest is not over. But definitely, most organizations will not call more than 5 people for an interview for a particular position. So just know you are just near there. You are just near there. And by the time you arrive, all those 5 people, there is concurrence in your resume, in your CVs, in your qualifications. So the actual face-to-face, this is the first time probably they are seeing you. So gentlemen, part of the preparation you do is still go back to that job advert. What did they say they are looking for? In fact, do a research on that company. Do a research on that school. Do a research on that organization. What is their core business? What are their plans for the future? What are they doing now? Have they had any industrial mishaps or some accidents or some bad things have happened or some new things have happened? Arm yourself with all these things and find a way of showing that not only you are blindly looking for a job, you are really interested in that organization because you have read about that organization. So do a proper research. Check the job application that first appeared that attracted you. What did they say you are looking for? You must have saved your copy of CV that you sent for that position. You must have saved a copy of your motivation letter so that because they are going to take you to task on those things that you wrote there. Check all the job experience that you said, where you said you did, where you said you led a group of students in the chemistry department or in Bayero University. Bring it back to mind and then appear. Of course, again, just like the CV, appearances are very well. As best as you can do, please appear in a very professional way, dressing-wise, arrive on time, because not arriving on time, again, is already a red flag. You are looking for a job, already you are arriving late. That shows a potential latecomer at the workplace. And then, when eventually you face the board, please put in your best. In fact, do a rehearsal before you go. Do a rehearsal. Get your peers to rehearse you. We are all we are in a generation that are good with computers. Record yourself on Zoom and look at it, and then go and meet these people in a respectable manner. When you meet them again, just like I said in your CV, you have to strike a balance between overconfidence and timidity. You shouldn't be timid, you shouldn't be overconfident. You should be relaxed and assured, and defend everything that you wrote in your CV and your this. If there is any criteria, you are not a perfect, nobody's a perfect human being. Maybe out of you have made the must-have criteria, but then the desirable criteria, you don't have 1 or 2. Show them, for example, that you are a quick learner, and you are also somebody who is quick, who is adept at self-improvement. Employers like self-improvement. In fact, you can draw from your self-improvement by showing how many courses you went to on your own, online or otherwise. That shows somebody who is self-improvement. So if there's anything you are liking, accept you are liking in it, but you are a good learner. So gentlemen, confidence, but not overconfidence. Not timidity. It's not required. So that is how you will face the interview board. Normally, they will ask you all the questions related to the work requirement, and then related to what you did in the past. And then normally, at the end of it, they will tell you maybe to ask a question. Now, this is good, but it's also a trap. Gentlemen, when you are given a chance to talk, please don't bring up issues about salary at that stage. If they don't bring salary into it. Just ask a question that shows interest. I read in the newspaper that you are going to open another plant in Port Harcourt. Is this true? It shows them that I have done a research on that company, and I'm already making the company part of my interest because I'm hoping to be an employee. So leave matters of issue. Now, again, one tricky question, there are some that will insist, okay, if at all we take you, how much do you think we are going to pay you? This is another tricky question that might come at an interview. Well, you might go, if you are already holding another job, you will say, currently where I'm working at company X or Y is what I collect. So ideally, I'm looking for a job that pays higher than that, maybe an increment of 5 to 10%. In any case, I am somebody who believes that I should be paid, commensurate with what the work that I'm going to do, something like that. But don't commit yourself by putting a price. Don't put a price, but answer the question if you are asked. The last part of my presentation before I ask for questions is the job search itself. I get a lot of questions being asked about where do we job. Well, in our olden days, it is always newspaper or radio advert. That still holds true. There are still papers that carry job advert, but more and more employers are moving to the internet to advertise for jobs. But in advertising for jobs, depending on your field, some fields have specialist websites for looking for jobs, while most job sites are general in approach. That means they carry everything from medicine to construction to accountancy to anything. So whatever you need to identify the website that suits you, there are many. Some are local, like ngcareers.com. It specializes for jobs in Nigeria from different organizations. There are job sites like UN Jobs, but in all honesty, I have a very soft spot for one particular job site called reliefweb.org. I find reliefweb.org very useful in that it carries jobs from all organizations. It also, there are filters that you can use. I spoke to you about when you don't have job experience. Through ReliefWeb, you can even filter. I'm looking for a job that requires 0 to 3 years experience. That is from somebody who has never worked before to somebody who has just 3 years. So it makes you filter. You can filter by country and go for a country. I want jobs in Nigeria. I want jobs in Ghana. It will filter. I want consultancies. I want short term. I want long term. That ReliefWeb can give you this thing. Gentlemen, the list is not exhaustive. And of course, please try and belong to professional websites, LinkedIn, and everything. On a final note, before I ask for your questions, I will please advise you to do something on skills. Gentlemen, I mentioned certain areas that in my experience, honestly, they are high paying and they do not need even a degree. There are free online courses. Check sites like World Bank site. World Bank offers free online courses with certifications, and other UN agencies, they do that. Please, instead of staying at home, use your data and follow these courses. And no matter what your background is, don't say, okay, me, I'm I'm an accountant, for example. I have a BSc accounting. Why should I go read and why should I go and read logistics? Gentlemen, read it. Read whatever comes, especially courses that are free. Invest your time and get this test. Like I said, most of the skills that I'm looking for now, they are not even degree level skills. Please vary and also keep up to date within your specialist field. Whatever your field, whether medicine, whether accounting now, I'm not an accountant, but I hear something like forensic accounting. I want to believe any serious accountant would like to know what is this forensic accounting. So fields are emerging within traditional fields. Please keep abreast of what is happening in your field and make sure where there are free courses, please go for them, online courses. I have mentioned World Bank. I have known World Bank, they have a site where you can check it out for yourself. There are other UN agencies that give free these courses. Get them, get the certificate and keep them. You never know. There are many people in this world now that what they studied in the university is not what is paying their bills now. I give myself as an example, with due respect. Dr. Rabi will tell you, because that time there was that tendency to say, I'm a science student, seeing that we're brainiacs. I am a science student by background. But eventually, when I started field, I only chose to do French in secondary school as an added subject because I have flair for languages. But in all honesty, I will tell you, in my lifestyle, I have earned money more by able to speak French than all the physics, chemistry I did in secondary school and even university. So I'm just giving you an example. So on a final note also, don't get tired of applying. I have met many young men that they will say, I've applied, there's no response. If you apply, you are not responded to, or you get a negative response, please don't get this. Go and check that your CV, go and check that your cover letter. Did you tailor it to the position? You may have many qualifications, but you'll find for a particular position, you don't need to put all of them. So you have achieved two things. First, you don't waste the man's time. First, you have also not done a very long CV or cover letter. Check all the ones that are necessary for that application and put them. When you reach the interview stage, maybe that will be time telling that apart from even the things you asked for, I have other skills which I want you to know. On that note, I thank you very much for listening, and we'll wait and hear. Please, if you have any questions, I'm ready to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu, for taking us through this very, very enlightening and very, actually, it's even a motivational talk. And I really appreciate all that you have said. Because all you have said is so straightforward. I'm not going to do any summary. And it is being recorded, and this recording will be shared, and people can listen to it again and then probably make notes on whatever they really want to listen to more. So I will not do any summary of what you have done. I have with me some raised hands, like I said before, and then also there are some questions which were already in the box, which I noted. So what we will do is I will call out the names of those who have raised the hand, and I would like Fauzia to help me with to note those who raise hand, and then I can call upon them, and then she will unmute those people, and then they can ask or make a comment if they so wish. Also, I want to also draw your attention to the fact that we have some of the resources and website link being posted thanks to Dr. Ahmed Mohamed. He's posting those websites, and then you can see them in the chat box. Yeah, you can even do a screenshot of the chat. You can save. There's a, if you go at the bottom where the chat, you can click, and then it will tell you save chat. So if you can save the chat and then look at those websites. If not, then you can copy them down, and you'll be able to follow those links. And for the first person that raised hand, and when I said we're not ready that time, it is so on one Riruwe Rock. Riruwe Rock at gmail.com raised his hand. So I think Fauzia, please, will need to unmute him and then and hear from him. He was the first person I noted who raised his hand. I hope he is there. Riruwe Rock at gmail.com.
I think it's...
If he's not there, okay, then there's Haliru Kadir. Haliru Kadir also raised hand. Yeah, if you can, okay, you'll be unmuted and then you can speak. Please, Fawzia, help me unmute Haliru Kadir.
I did. It's that he dropped.
Okay. Then you will have, you unmute yourself, Haliru Kadir. Yeah, okay.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, Prof. To the organizers, thank you for this opportunity. And to Group Captain, thank you very much. I listened carefully, and I must say that I am privileged to have been following most of what you have said. But one thing I specifically that keeps reoccurring during this interview is we do have back and forth about the qualification. Most times, it turns out that the human resource personnel, we keep doing back and forth in the sense that, oh, you have a master's degree. We don't know if you would want to work for us, stuff like that. I do try my best to answer that. Secondly, it all leads down to what they want to pay. So sometimes what they want to pay, they are seeing that your qualifications that you have is not comparing to what they want to pay. So they kind of ask that question, twist it in a different manner. But the point is, my question is, what do you advise to do in this scenario? It always comes in companies that you know that you are qualified, the degrees and the skills, you are qualified, you are relevant to that job position. So sometimes I think, oh, do they want us or me to remove the master degree, like maybe perhaps apply with the BSc alone? Or is it a crime to put up your additional qualifications just because they always link it to how much they want to pay? So that's what I have witnessed in like 5 interviews I have had. So I would want, maybe if you can share a note on that. Should we always put up our qualifications as we have attained them? Because you talked about channeling or drafting your CV in accordance to the requirement of the job. But here is a job they are requesting for a master degree, a BSc, and a soft skill. You are there, you have the interview, and they are doing back and forth about you have a master degree, we will not be able to pay for that. So how do we address this? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Haliru Kadir, for your question. And Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu will answer now.
Thank you very much, Haliru Kadir. In the scenario you pointed, it's a common scenario, especially like in Nigeria, we have a lot of youths looking for work. It's actually a reality. Now, the practicality of it, we look at it in 2 sides, especially if it's a private company. They are looking at their bottom line. They want quality, but they want to pay as little as possible. They decided they want somebody with a 2nd degree. Now the ball is back in your court. This is why we have an overqualified candidate. An overqualified candidate, now it depends on your situation. If there are, to be honest with you, even as an experienced applicant myself here, there are jobs I have accepted and taken a pay cut. There's something I want to do. So in all honesty, that is also your situation. If you have the information that they are looking for a 1st degree holder and you have a master's degree, in all honesty, you are not lying and you are not doing anything disrespectful if you apply based on that 1st degree that you have, because you want job experience. In all honesty, without being unprofessional, I always say there is no job that is for life. You get the point? Instead of staying at home, you don't have any job experience. I will advise that if you know the master's degree is going to scare them off, take if you don't have any alternative, apply with your 1st degree, go for the job. You are counting job experience. As you are there, you are still doing, almost everybody at work between, let me say, between 40 to 50 years, in all honesty, in modern times, is still looking for a job. I'm being very honest with you. I don't do 1 week without going to the job site because there's always that job that will excite you. So take it. You are overqualified, you want the job because you don't want to stay without work experience, remove it please and go for the lower one. And again, I am tying this to what I told you. And this is for people, specifically people who have a first degree, and now they are torn between going for a master's degree in what they have, as opposed to going to maybe a certificate or a diploma, a postgraduate diploma in another emerging field. Imagine field. I have a first degree in with respect. I am not.
Yeah. Okay, we are having a little bit of hitch of internet. I think it's an internet hitch. So I think it will come up again. Yeah.
In any particular area.
Group captain, you can unmute yourself. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is that if you are done?
I'm done with that question, please.
Okay, please. I have some questions before I attend to those who raised hands. I have some questions in the chat box. Placed in the chat box. So I will first of all give you those questions, and then I will read them out, please, if you will note them down. And then after you note them down, you can answer. The first one is a bit trivial. Somebody answered it, but I still would like to hear from you. It says that, what does group captain mean? So that's one. And then another one is that we shared something about a double column CV on our Telegram page. And it says that on the double column CV, it says you give some part of your resume, and then on the other side, you give some, like you give maybe on this side your skills, on this side you give your educational qualifications. So the person is asking, is it advisable to use this type of CV? Is it advisable to use that, or it's better not to use that? That's the second question. And now the third question is about, it's about how we can take off the flowery language or words in motivation letters. So I don't know if I get this. It says, how can we take off the flowery languages or words in motivation letter? Motivation letter is one of the toughest aspects to me when it comes to applications. So that's the third question. And I think the last one I have on the chat box is, we would like, this is not a question, but it's like a request, whether there would be a template of a motivational letter or sample of motivational letter would be given so that it may be posted on our social media pages. So these are the ones I have now. After you answer that, I will check out for those who have raised their hands also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Avia. Let me start with the easiest one. The person who wants to know what group captain is. Well, my background, like I said, I'm a retired military officer. And group captain is a rank in the Nigerian Air Force, which is equivalent to a colonel. But I have left that, and like I said, since I left the Air Force, I have worked like 7 jobs, which gives me some credibility to talk to you about how to apply for jobs. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. We are still not getting you now. I think the audio has gone again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can.
Okay, maybe I retake.
Yes.
Group captain, the question was for a group captain. Group captain is a military Air Force rank, retired military officer, and it stands for, is the same equivalent with a colonel. which I retired several years back. That is one, by the way. Double column CV. I understand that this has been featured in an earlier listing. Gentlemen, there is no one type of CV format. What I did, I gave an addition. I actually know about the double format. You can use it. But the idea in all, gentlemen, depending on your experience, don't be verbose. Don't use, too many pages to write your CV. Don't go and write a 7-page CV, especially where you are a beginner. You don't even have experience. So I advise you keep that figure of 1 to 2 pages. Then if you are very experienced, maybe you're looking for a director position, you're moving, maybe you can move up to 4 or 5 pages. Look at the fonting. Remember the fonting I gave? The spacing, the sections in the CV, what you will include, please keep to that. Whether it is a double-sided CV or is the one format I gave you, as long as you have these basics inside, I think you are along on the way. There is the question about a flowery language in a motivational letter. Definitely is a challenge. What do I put? What do I leave? One thing I mentioned during my talk with you is that please don't repeat any phrase or any word twice. Don't repeat any. If you find you repeating anything twice, please strike one out. Use formal language as opposed to flowery language. And remember what I said. Flowery language might be in kind of overblowing your achievements. I don't want you to be timid, but I don't want you to be overconfident. It's a balance between these two. Not too modest as not to bring what brings you out, but please, now, in addition to that, in all honesty, again, if you see, this is the good of the internet. In all honesty, a simple search of sample motivational letters, voila, it will return you with a very good and rich resource. I am betting you, if you read one motivational letter and ask yourself, if I'm the employer, what will I do with this guy? You will say, I will employ him. So once you find that letter, once you find that motivational letter, please keep it as a reference. It's not the same job, it's not the same company, but there are tidbits you can pick. Some phrases, the way the guy arranged it. Once you find that motivation letter that says, look, even if I am the one doing the interview, I will pick this guy. Please stick to it and write. Continue writing, continue writing. Don't get tired. One day, that letter of you are invited for interview will come. Somebody has asked me for a motivational letter sample. Dr. Rabia, I promise, please, I will give 2 or 3 samples that I will send so that people will look at them. It's not hard and fast rule, but you will see it will bring this 3-paragraph or 5-paragraph format. I will select the ones. Remember, I said a powerful opening statement. Even if you are the one checking motivation letters, to be honest with you, the opening statement, there are some opening statements that you cannot just overlook. You will sit upright in your chair and check what the rest of the content is. On the other hand, there are some insipid openings that you know that, look, this guy or this lady does not really have anything to offer. You already know from the first, you may just go through the motions, but already you have turned up. And if you are tired with 100 motivational letters, you must say, no, this one, just keep him to the side. It happens. It's a human being that's assessing those letters. One other thing I didn't add, gentlemen, when you write your motivation letter or CV, please give somebody to read. And don't be in a hurry to write. What I normally do, gentlemen, there's always a first, second, and third draft, which is good. If you see an application, today what is the date today? We're on 4th July. If the state deadline is 31st July, please, I beg you, don't wait until 30th July, then you come and write the letter. Write it like tomorrow. Keep it, after 3 days, bring it out again and read it. You are in a competition. No spelling errors, no grammatical distinction. Give somebody to look at it. By the time you look at it 3-4 times, that is the best letter. But if you wait till on 30th, while the closing date is 31st, definitely after you send, if you read back that letter, you regret that, oh, there is this and I didn't change. And by then it is too late. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I saw some hands raised, but it looks as if the person is no longer there now. One Siba, I don't know if I get that right, Siba, well, something Lawal Busau, and I think I can't find him now. I think Suleiman Abubakar, were you raising your hand? Were you raising your hand or is just not okay? Somebody, could you unmute him, please? I saw as if you were raising your hand. You can unmute now. He's not. Have you muted? He's still muted. I don't know.
He's not responding.
Yeah, can you unmute him, please, Fawzia?
Yeah, I did. He's not responding.
Okay, you should unmute. Okay, now Suleiman Abubakar, unmute yourself. You have been unmuted, and then but you need to also unmute. Okay. Okay. Probably he wasn't raising his hand. I don't know. Okay.
Can you hear Suleiman?
Yes, I can hear you, Doctor.
Aha. Oh, okay. Welcome. Okay, then. I saw your hand raised. That's why I called. Okay.
Yes, Prof. Good afternoon. Good evening, sorry.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm by name Sulaiman Abubakar, a first class graduate of chemistry from Bayero University, Kano.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Prof. Please, though I joined the meeting solely, please, I want to ask our group captain about please the font size and the line spacing he stated were in writing a curriculum vitae CV, please.
Okay, group captain, it's like, okay, that would be like you want a recap, even
Yes,
though,
correct.
it's recorded, it's recorded and you can listen again to the presentation, but I don't know, I'll still throw it to group captain and see if he can still answer that. I didn't recall that. He said something about the font size, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
A good resume should have an easy to write characters, one that is elegant and formal on the one hand, and also stylish. So from experience, experts, they suggest
Oh, yeah, we still have, we have the challenge again, the audio challenge.
Between 10 to 12. And out of those that the Helvetica, Bookman, All Stars was required. For the set margins, okay, are you getting me now?
Yes, okay, now, now. It's just that it's fluctuating. It comes and goes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, if you didn't get me, please, I said font of 10, and it is advised you reuse either. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
There are font size of between 10 to 12, and some fonts you can consider using include Cambria, Calibri, Helvetica, Bookman, All Style. You may also alternatively look at serif and sans serif, but 10 to 12 font size. Leave margins of 1 each on each side of the paper, on the 4 sides of the paper. That's nice.
Thank you very much. And I think, okay, Man Suleiman Abubakar, we will share the recording and you can listen again from the beginning, even though you said you joined late. You can go listen again. It is quite enriching. Even for me that I'm here, I will still listen to it again.
All right, thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more questions or raised hands. I don't know, Fawzia, from your end, can you see any?
No, I can see only, I think somebody asked question.
Yeah, it's just that I saw the question and it's not actually relevant to this particular session. And so I thought probably he can be answered, because he's talking about I think I saw it in the chat. The question was about it's about applicant tracking systems. So, and I know we had a session with you. The first session was about applications and so on. So this might likely be a question about the applicant tracking system. I think it's the US that use that. We can answer this question at a later time. I don't think it's a question for group captain. Yeah, that's why I did not take it.
Apart from pictures, what
there's one Maji Haruna.
that we should note it.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay.
It's asking pictures. What else should be
how can applicants bypass this? Do you see this one is saying about how can applicants bypass this software? I think it's it's from Dr. Ahmad Tariq. Huh? I don't know. So I will not be asking group captain that question.
The one with the apart from picture, what other things?
Okay.
Noted.
Yeah. Apart from apart from picture, what other thing that we should not put in writing our CV? CV stroke resume, are they the same? Yeah, it will just be a repetition of what he had actually answered. It will just be like a repetition. Okay. Apart from pictures, what can we not put on the CV? And then is CV and resume the same thing? Are they the same thing? Group captain, I don't know if you want to answer. You need to unmute. Group captain, you need to unmute.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, resume and CV, they're about the same thing. It's just linguistics sometimes between British English and American English, even though there are some little technicalities, but by and by they are used interchangeably. It's the British word and the American word. Now, in all honesty, this is what I would just advise is don't put pictures, unless, of course, if you are told to put pictures on it. That is just what I will advise.
Okay. I saw Dr. Ahmed Tariq raised hand. Yes, he raised his hand. Can you unmute him?
Yeah, I will. I want to ask the captain.
Okay.
Just so in here when I came before in my CV, I usually put religion and gender, but here when I came here, it's like they don't encourage that. So in Nigeria, do you think we need to put gender and religion?
I will advise you leave those details out.
Okay.
Any case, okay, gender might be there. Gender, you can put gender, especially you will see most advert, they will say qualified females are strongly advised. So what is that plus for you? You could go for that. But for the religious bit, you could leave that out. And in any case, like I said, stick to what is strictly necessary, because that gives you, now instead of putting that religion, maybe you have something that you'll add to make sure you don't go overboard. So go for the things that are really essential. Gender will be for it, especially where almost all organizations are trying to get gender balance in this. And Nigeria, definitely we know still the gender is skewed against the ladies. So for a lady, I will advise you to put gender there.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I see two raised hands, Dr. Ahmad Tariq and Dr. Maje Haruna, they both raised hands. So I will go first with Dr. Ahmad Tariq. After that, Dr. Maje Haruna.
Oh, okay. Ahmad Tariq.
Can we unmute both of them?
Yeah.
Ahmad Tariq, Maje Haruna. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Group Captain, for this wonderful presentation. I posted the question about the applicant tracking system on the chat because what I'm aware of is in some countries, they use a number of apps to sort out this CVs. So it's not really people that are going through the CVs, rather they have applications that, once you, because of course, normally, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, please.
Right. Normally these applications have been sent online. So they have these apps that can just sort out based on the particular job in question. So for cases where you have people going through those CVs, it's very much easier. You can just have a look at the CV and see if it's something that you can take or not. But if you have these apps, the question was, how can, if a group captain can just tell us if what are the means for which one can bypass those apps so that his CV can be selected and then of course pass through that stage.
Thank you very much, Tariq, for that question. Yes, really, this is a very relevant question. Yeah, I actually spoke only of a situation where it's a staff that is going to, but certainly there are organizations that put them to computer safety. Now, if you are eventually, if unfortunately your CV is sorted out, it comes from you, because those computers here are saying they look at the job specification, what was put in that question in terms of maybe age, maybe educational qualification, maybe certain skills which have been made to be essential for anybody to be sifted. So now, you in writing your CV, that's why I said you should read the advert and read the advert. You must identify the catchwords that are required and make sure that they appear in either your CV or cover letter or your motivation letter, because that machine will be looking for those words. The other point, if they are looking for somebody who has experience in project management, and you do show how you have project management, you must put it in your, whether it is by word or by listing, that you have experience in project management, because the computer is set to look for such words. So in all honesty, I don't want you to look at it of how do you bypass that machine. No, how you make the machine to catch you should be your concern. And how do you make the machine to catch your application is by making sure that you identify those relevant words that are essential for the prospective candidate and make sure that they enter into your CV and your motivational letter. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now, Dr. I'll give a chance to Dr. Maji Haruna, and then after that, we just have one more question which I have in the chat, because we should be stopping at 10:45, which means we would have gone 1 hour, 30 minutes. We were intending to go 1 hour, and we have gone more than that, so that we can give our speaker time to go and do some other thing, and others also to rest, and probably Maghrib in Nigeria. Here it's morning at my location, but at least I know Maghrib will be approaching for those in Nigeria. So can Dr. Maji Haruna, please?
He's no longer here.
He's no longer around. Okay. So maybe I will give this final question. Somebody asked that, okay, you said we can exclude religion. You said, what about tribe? Should tribe also be excluded from the CV? Yes.
Okay. Let me give you my thoughts about all these physical identities. Now, it depends on the context. It depends on the context. In some very minute cases, especially in the NGO world, there are some religious-based NGOs that I am not saying is right or it is wrong, but based on their principle, they are NGO, they are faith-based NGOs. Sometimes they specify that the person working must be aligned to that faith for which they are working. So in that case, maybe your religion will come in. But for other international organizations in general, what I find important is probably gender. Even age is discounted, because we don't want a situation of people being discriminated based on age. But gender is there for gender equality. Nationality is very important, because like in organizations like the UN, they always keep a data to make sure it's an organization of, is it 170 something countries, and they want to make sure that based on a kind of formula that all countries fulfill their data. So especially in an organization, they will even post and tell you countries that are underrepresented. So in that case, if your country is underrepresented, it will pay you to put your nationality, because it means you have more chance than a country that's already overrepresented or have filled their quota. So that is the issue. But again, like I said, it depends on the context. I can hardly see where religion, except in the case of faith-based organizations, where putting religion will be. But in all cases, international organizations, I don't think religions will really matter. But your nationality, some they give boxes for ethnic groups because it's still for inclusivity and diversity in the workplace. So this is what I have to say.
Thank you. And then on the final note, in the absence of any other comments or questions, on this final note, it's another question. It's almost like a question or a statement. Maybe the person did not capture exactly what you were saying. He said you mentioned that one does not have to stick to what he or she studied as a first degree. And you would want a clarification on that.
Thank you very much. A very important question, also a very sensitive question. In all honesty, as a mentor, I don't like looking at a young guy or young lady and telling, why did you study this course in 2020? But again, Dr. Rabi will bear me out. I just gave an example of mass communication. So if mass communication, if you are stuck with a mass communication and they're telling you they have even stopped identifying it as a professional field on its own, then certainly I wouldn't advise you to go and do a master's or PhD in mass communication. Maybe you should look at some of these subsets, like I mentioned, gender, climate change, sustainable development goals. All these are themes that are emerging. And I think if the purpose of you is to get gainfully employed, yes, your first degree in that field, which is no longer marketable, has opened your mind. I think the purpose of a degree is to open your mind so that you can be able to take other things. Please, I wouldn't mind in that case, in that particular case, it wouldn't help you to go and waste your money and your resources pursuing a master for a field that is going out of fashion. We used to have, in fact, there are so many fields that have gone extinct and they will continue going extinct. And there are new emerging fields that I said. But remember what I said, the advantage of some of the emerging fields, you don't even really to go and take even a degree. To be honest with you, when you check this, there's this website, I saw somebody posting it, that is Relief Web. In all honesty, if you see the number of logisticians they are looking for, if you see the number of people that have knowledge in GIS they are looking for, if you see the people that are looking in climate change, then you will know that it will pay you to go and take a diploma. In any case, you are a graduate, so you are taking a postgraduate diploma in GIS. So this is what I meant, the person by saying you don't have to stick. And in all honesty, in advanced countries, people are moving from careers to careers. They are moving. In fact, in the generation to come, the idea of people working in one career for 30, 20 years is becoming a cake. People want for five years, 10 years, and move and do another thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's actually really buttresses. Currently, I'm in a non-proliferation institute in Monterrey, and there are so many people whose background is not just physics, it's nuclear non-proliferation, and we have medical doctors here who have been practicing medicine, and now they decided that they want to be in the nuclear non-proliferation and terrorism studies. So, with that background, because terrorism also involves the use of biological weapons, and when it is used, there are symptoms that it will be doctors who are able to identify those symptoms. So you see, their background as medical doctors fits them into this. So there are so many things that you can do. You have a first degree, and then you can go ahead again and expand into other things. So at this juncture, we have just like 2 minutes. I would just like to use that to thank Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu for honoring us and for making this fourth session of our Arewa Youth Mentorship Program a very fulfilling one. I learned a lot too, and I'm sure all our mentees learned a lot. And in subsequent, maybe subsequent sessions, we may wish to call back Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu in order to tap into his vast knowledge in some other areas. We are likely to call you back again. I still see Haliru Kadir, you want to say something again? Because I still saw you raising your hand. Oh, you're fine, okay. So thank you very much everyone for attending. It's been quite wonderful, and we hope to stay in touch with us in all our media platforms. and we hope to bring to you many more sessions in subsequent in our subsequent programs. Thank you so much for honoring us, Group Captain Sadeeq Shehu. We are really, really grateful for your being here, and thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I don't know if there's a final word for Zia or any of our group mentors that are here. None of them has said anything. Do you want to say a final word for Zia?
Yeah, thank you, Group Captain, for honoring our invitation. I really learned a lot, and for those that didn't meet, we are going to upload it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and also share the link on Telegram. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.